Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to our final episode of Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kits Keep In Touch Systems, EPM Equity Prime Mortgage, and the Buzz Conference. Equity Prime Mortgage, also known as EPM, is a great mortgage lender based out of Atlanta, Georgia, where their mission is simply empowering people more. And in fact, we at Mindshare 101 have just signed an exclusive partnership with EPM to offer Mindshare X on behalf of their group for the real estate industry across the United States of America. And my good friend Jason Frazier is at the helm helping the entire EPM crew build a whole lot of Mindshare. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at EPM Plus. Make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and by following them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all the awesome events they host, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz digital magazine. Quick note, due to the provincial legislations, the Buzz has had to reschedule our live in-person Recharge 2022 event to March 31st. Again, please visit their website and Instagram account to get all the details. And when was the last time you checked out the Kits Cross-Channel Marketing Suite? This is your full-on marketing tool set, starting with Loop CRM to help keep you organized, the most personalized and effective direct mail newsletters delivering response rates of over 35%, email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages, complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mindshare to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on marketing. And as you know, this past year, we have spent a whole bunch of time on our push to 100 reviews on iTunes. And so I would like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to rate the show, leave a review, and we're making this super, super easy for you. All you have to do is go to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, it's ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. You can leave a review, super, super easy. And of course, as always, thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 161. He's been in the real estate business his entire professional life, spanning 5 decades. In this time, he has experienced many different types of market fluctuations, from 20% interest rates to the problems of the first decade of the 21st century. He has maneuvered through this as an agent, a broker owner, and a coach, and he feels the most important thing a real estate agent has to have is adaptability. He has helped many agents build businesses as well as reinvent themselves over the years, and he starts the 2022 year again as an agent, coach, and business builder for himself and for real estate agent he works with throughout North America. This week on the show, I am joined by broker, owner, and coach Dave Fanale. Dave, welcome back to the Mindshare Podcast.
Hey, man, thanks so much for having me. This is like really awesome. I'm really excited, because, as you said, I've been around a few years and everything's going to be old again, but new again for me as that things go on, because I'm adding some things, doing some things differently. And you know what? It's great to be back on this broadcast. I mean, it's great to have you as a friend, as a mentor, as a coach, as an associate, as a colleague. And then, of course, you're talking about my friend Jason Frazier, of course, as well in the beginning. So all is cool, man. How's things up north of the border?
You know what, man? Everything is good. And I want to say a big thank you over here for a second. I got this wicked cool hat that just got delivered to me. And this thing showed up. I was all pumped. I mean, you have no idea what's in the bag kind of thing, right? You open it up and you see this. And not only have I got the brand new red digs for the real estate skill builder, but dude, I love this little extra touch right here. I love this little extra touch, man. This is special stuff. Thank you very much for sending over this hat. This is very, very cool.
You're welcome, man.
So what's shaking on your side, man? Things are good?
Yeah, things are real good. Family, people are getting the flu all over the place. We're not going to talk about that. Let's just talk about, what's going on. I mean, I got so many people I'm working with and trying to get more involved in actually, doing business. I mean, that's what things are about. That's what this is all about, is helping people do business. And that's what you and I have been doing for such a long time. and in the trenches too, which is really cool. I'm excited about what's going on in the future, in the next week and next 6, 8, 10 months.
Buddy, talk to me about this, okay? Because looking at, just reading through the bio and kind of bringing that up, and it sort of struck me, and I thought, we're 20% interest rates, I guess at that time, were 20% interest rates harder to deal with in this business than the current state of the world right now when it comes to actually running your real estate business? Like, serious question on that.
So I'm gonna answer that a little bit long way,
because it's a crazy time out there, right? Like, there's a lot of outside factors to be dealing with these days right now.
So I was first licensed in 1976 when I was a freshman in college, and
yeah,
and then as time went on, I didn't get really involved just yet, and then I started working with this small independent, because independents that's what we were in the 70s. Century 21 started in the early 70s, and as time went on, there are more things, but there are more cooperative things going on. But anyway, with these guys, I worked with 2 guys, and they did all their business by people they knew. And with the interest rates, the things everybody has to understand, whether it's a 20% interest rate or a 2% interest rate, people are still buying houses because it's one of the things that we have to have. What is it? Shelter, food, and health. Is that what it is? Those are the 3 major things, right? So we need right. So yeah. the important thing that everybody needs to understand is that no matter what, people are going to buy houses. What we're doing today, people are going to buy houses, right? It's different today how we do business. Look, you know what? We thought that our company was really cool because we had a 3-color typewriter. That was technology for us back in the late 70s, right? And so, I mean, it's neither here nor there. It's the same thing, Dave. Same thing.
So it's all the same. Doesn't matter. 20% rates, low rates, high rates, outside factors in this world. Real estate is real estate. Things still need to continue to happen. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that's never changed. You need to know your profession. You need to know your business. You need to know how to maneuver around the current market that you're in. So if I said to anybody, I started 20%, is no. Or they say, oh, wow, that must have been something. It was actually the same thing. I mean, here we're dealing with, multiple offers, over ask bids, all that stuff. And everything else we're talking about, well, okay, so how are we going to buy a house? How does it work? It's creative financing, man. There are people taking back mortgages. Maybe you're paying a little bit more because they took back a mortgage. It was all time. When things got better, you refinance. Look, when I bought my first house, I was so excited that I paid 7.5%. That was a great
so rate. Excited about that.
Yes. Wow, I can get that. And it was because my family and my company that I worked with had done a lot of business with the bank. Otherwise, it would have been 8.5. So
okay. So let me ask you this question then. Let me ask you this. Okay, as we talk about rates and we talk about the fact that people are still buying, we're seeing up here, because of the fact that money is so cheap, that people are out there to get that money. There's zero inventory. I mean, if you're looking along and you're scrolling through the listings and stuff, there's a lot of the same stuff that's been sitting out there. And whether it's the same or majorly different, the reality is it's not. The prices are stupid. But where are people getting this money from?
Well, one of the things that people forget is that from 2007, 8, 9, with the collapse back then, one of the things that happened over the last, I've seen from there up until 18, I guess, and even now, is that people weren't spending as much money as they were before. Okay, so 17, 18, credit card debt's going up, but they weren't spending as much money. They had more savings. The thing what happened was that people were forced to save money. So the savings went up, right? Jobs were better. There was minimal to no inflation. So purchase power went up, cash went up. And people are saying, where are they getting that kind of cash? They got it because they didn't spend it. A lot of the people that have been able to overbid to get the house that they wanted and really overbid had the cash to do it because that's what they did. Some people have taken advantage of the market, sold and then bought. You know, in the beginning of the blast that we had in 05 and 06, excuse me, we told people, what should I do? Should I sell now? Should I rebuy? Because I'm going to buy at a higher level. What we actually, the advice we gave back then would be, well, you have to do what you want to do as far as whether you want to own or whether you want to rent. But it's not out of the question to rent for a while to see what happens with prices. Now, when this whole thing started over the past few years, that was kind of the same advice we were looking at because no one was optimistic about appreciation. No one really thought about the inflation. Well, some people did, and I did, but here's the difference is we've seen inflation. We didn't have inflation 10, 15 years ago, right? Now we're seeing the inflation, which is why the prices aren't coming down the way they should. And the advice of renting now to see what happens with the prices is a huge mistake, my opinion, but that's what's happening now.
Well, yeah, you take yourself out of the market now, and I think that people saw this probably a year, 2 years ago. You take yourself out of the market at that point. You try to wait these prices out. You've been priced out, and you haven't been priced out by 50. You've been priced out by 150, 250, 350, 550. It's crazy the amount. Yeah. Now, let me do this then. As we talk about kind of, then to now, I want to get a lot more micro on that and look at this and say, what were some of the major differences we saw from 2020 and 2021? Did we see any differences between those two? I mean, man, we walked into 2020, we had no idea what was hitting us.
Right.
We went through it. We figured at the end of 2020, we were out of it. We rolled into 2021, and it seems like things stayed status quo. We should have been further ahead by learning and knowing and be more prepared for it in 2021 over 2020. But here we go. We're moving into 2022. What did we learn, let's say, from 21 to 20? What was that difference there? And what are we taking with us into 22? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happened over the last couple of years. I mean, I want to talk about inventory real quick if I can.
Yeah.
Inventory is low no matter where you go. Why? Because demand is high, not because there's less houses for sale. So let's understand that the number of houses sold in the past 12 months is more than the previous 12, is more than the previous 12, is more. I mean, there's more houses being sold. Why is inventory so low? Because a lot of the homes are not hitting inventory. Stupid thing to say. It sounds like it, but think about this. House goes on the market today, 5 houses go on the market today. They're off by the end of the week. Statistics are pulled Saturday. Those houses aren't even making the statistics. They're getting there as far as numbers and listings, but as far as inventory on the market that second, they're not making it. So people aren't seeing that, right? What we saw during the pandemic and the shutdown is something I had said through that. I said it half tongue in cheek was that what's going to happen to this real estate market is people are going to move. They're either going to, unfortunately, get divorced, unfortunately, die, or they're going to realize that they hate their house and got to go somewhere else, or they're going to reinvent their house and do work on it. What we've seen is a never-ending flow of people that really know they wanted to live somewhere else should this shutdown ever happen again. It might be not the reason that they're telling people, but it's the reason that happens more times than not, and it's what's going on, right? So when we look at what's happening today as opposed to yesterday, there's, we're going to see an increase in inventory because it's going to slow down a bit. We're going to see houses not selling as fast, but that's going to take, let's face it, the spring market is going to show that, David. That's what's going to happen. We're seeing more construction, which is something that didn't happen before over the past 15 years. We were always shy in new construction, which is where most of our lack of inventory came from over the past 5 to 10 years. Unfortunately, now with prices fluctuating and supplies and building materials fluctuating in price, that in and of itself is stymieing new construction, but it's still starting again. The interesting part of what we're seeing, at least here on the East Coast, we're seeing multifamilies, high-end apartment buildings being built all over the place. How that's affecting the housing market is hard to tell. It's affecting higher-end people, and it's really not for the low end. It's people are using that as a stepping stone to purchasing a home. So I don't know if that answered the question or not, but what we're seeing is, we're going to see more inventory. We're going to see prices slowing down a bit, but they're still going up.
It's interesting, man. I mean, I think the more inventory is the thing that's going to, be the catalyst there for a lot of people, whether or not that is going to happen. I know up here it still seems scarce. So it'll be very interesting to see what 2022 brings to us. And so, okay, so looking at some of those as major differences in terms of inventory levels,
right?
When we look at agents as a whole, because again, broker, owner, you're actively working, you're coaching people. What was the biggest challenge that we saw most agents have this past year?
The biggest challenge is the same challenge they've always had: how to get listings. It's the biggest challenge. And people say, well, it's getting harder to get listings because there's no expireds out there. Well, there are. You just have to look for them. The interesting thing that people need to learn better is how to look in the nooks and crannies for the listing opportunities, right? Because the buyers are going to come out and they're going to raise their hands all the time. Sellers may not. Sellers are going to be, well, why should I hire an agent? Because I could sell it myself. The difficulty for agents is going to be what they need to do in order to garner listings, because it's going to become more and more important. And let's face it, David, it's always been that you need the listing. You control the listings, you control the market, right? That's what everybody says.
Well, we know that listings have been the gold mine this past year. We know that for 1 million, right?
Right.
You got listings, you're winning.
Right. But I can also tell you that there are agents getting in this business using high technology. They've learned how to use YouTube in very, very well, that are not working with sellers at all. All buyers, they've got transaction coordinators, they've got systems set up where they show homes on Friday afternoons and Saturdays, showing agents do it on Sundays. They're writing offers. I know a group that has crushed it in 21, just working with buyers. Now, when it comes to sellers, it's the same thing, right? You've got to be known, right? One of my favorite books by Mark Schaefer called Known. You have to also be able to have people notice you. And a great book for that is a book called Hook Point, to get noticed. And let's face it, smile, dial, and hopefully make a pile. I mean, you've just got to call the FSBOs. You got to call the FSBOs. You got to call the expireds, right? If you're working for investors, well, how do I find investment properties? There are ways. You just have to look, just do the work. There's no difference.
Just do the work. I like that.
What I'm saying is that there's no difference in how you're going to do it than you did it 40 years ago, right? When you're calling these people, they're still going to have the same objections they had 40 years ago. So all those agents out there having trouble with, finding listings or finding buyers, doing everything, nothing's changed. And people are looking for that magic pill and that shiny bullet. I just gave it to you. Do what we did 40 years ago.
Wait a second. There's not really a real magic pill? Like, I've actually got to work to get the things that most in life? Is that what you're telling me, Dave?
Dude, when I need something, I just go to the bubblegum.
What do you mean you go to the bubblegum? What does that mean?
It just means if I'm getting distracted from what I'm doing. Look, I'm a former smoker. Well, okay, yeah. I had my last cigarette 4 years ago. So, I used to smoke, and the thing is that there's still that urge. So that was my distractive stage, right? So I try not to get distracted. So when I get distracted and I need to keep going and get my nose to the grindstone, as they say, I have got to use bubblegum. That's what I do.
Love it, man. Okay. Hey, you know what? Listen, it makes sense. And, look, that's a perfect opportunity to talk about for a moment for habits, right?
Sure.
And I'm going to bring that one in for a second, because again, when we think about a habit, we think about good habits, we think about bad habits. A lot of time when you think about a bad habit, you think about smoking. But for everybody right now, and this is key, because at the time of the year that we're in at this exact moment, and we've talked a lot about the word habits and the right habits for success over these past number of weeks and months to try to get everybody ready for the new year. And something that you just brought up there, when we talk about a habit, we've got trigger, action, and reward, right? The trigger, your body wanted the cigarette. The action is your body smoked the cigarette. The reward was you felt relieved because you had it. Well, in this case now, what you've done is you've changed that up. Trigger. Well, we want something. The action, instead of grabbing the smokes, we're going to grab the gum. The reward is I feel like I've grabbed something, I've taken something, and I've changed it up. And now we've started to build the habit, the different habit than we had before. Now, again, that's a parallel directly to what we just talked about. The idea, though, is that right there, that 3-step trigger, action, reward, that's something that you can implement to anything that you do in this life, right? Be it the way you market yourself, be it the way you go out and work and grind every single day to figure out what you're doing, the way you take care of yourself.
Right.
It really comes down to those right habits for success. So just thought I'd sort of throw that in there. Now, tell me this, Dave. As we look back, because this is the grand finale. Okay, this is our final episode of 2021. I thought the name was just fitting.
Hey, you know what? I've never heard that before. Can I use that?
Yeah, come on. Nobody's used that one before.
I'm joking. My entire life,
obviously. I thought it was cheeky though, but no. But seriously, looking back, tell me, 2021. What were some of the biggest learning moments for you?
So I decided to really get into my business and decide where I wanted to go. For me, my personal story goes like this for 2021 is that honestly, I wasn't achieving the way I wanted to in a coaching business and, helping agents. I wasn't helping enough people. And I needed to really investigate where my issues were. I know that one was I'm full of distractions. I mean, I need an exterminator for squirrels because I see squirrels all the time, right? You know what I mean? As a distraction, right? Yeah, so I need an exterminator.
Man. Absolutely.
So instead of starting my business planning in October and November, I started it in August. And I looked at it and I said, how do I want my business to look in the 12 months of 22? So I basically—
Dave, I sorry to completely interrupt you there, even though I just asked you a question. I love what you just brought up there. And I want to read, sort of echo that for everybody. Instead of starting in when?
In October, November.
In October, November, you started in August. Now, just to kind of point that out to everybody, to most people, October, November is incredibly early, right? Yep. But I wanted to highlight that for a second because I'm with you there. That's basically when we start ours. Is October, November. We're already in a plan for the new year, right? So it was something there because we still got people right now today who are like, I don't really know what I'm doing for 2022 yet.
Right.
I want everybody to be ready. I want everybody to be out of the gate, January 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever day you're going to get back at it. Right. We started getting back at it this week.
Yeah. Right. So
sorry.
That's okay. I saw a good buddy of mine who's a top luxury agent down at the Jersey Shore. He did a broadcast, I think yesterday, talking about business planning for his team and such. But he just did that. To get more exposure. Anyway, so I started in August because I knew I needed to make some changes as to what I was doing, and I need to figure out, okay, will I be hiring a coach? Where am I lacking? Right. So I took in everything from the previous 7.5 months and I said, all right, this is what I want it to look like, I think, right? So I put some things together and started implementing this stuff as testing in September. Well, I'm glad I did that because the shit didn't work. It wasn't working for me, okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me preface everything by saying I keep calendars, but I have really sucked at keeping to my calendar. So as time went on through September, I realized that I still had that issue. So I tried a different system for blocking. I time block what I do. I also list what I do because my blocks are open in the afternoon and I fill them up in the morning. Didn't work that well. And this is stuff that I had hired coaches over the previous 6-7 months of the year to work on to get to my mindset. Now, I spent the entire year of 21, Dave, in retrospect. And what I mean by that is I look back at my life, I look back at personal, business, the whole thing, where it had evolved from. So I could have written an evolution book of Dave Fanale through his business life and actually growing up because I looked back at everything. I needed to. I felt I needed to do that in order to support my life moving forward. So in September, when I saw after a few weeks it wasn't working, I redid everything again. I said, okay, where am I failing? What do I need to do? It didn't work again. I spent the month of probably the first 2 weeks of November, knowing who I wanted to call, the help I wanted to get. But I said, I got to try it again. And I didn't. I decided, you know what? Quit screwing around. I made that call to a guy I've just started working with again. And we have decided to move forward to do what I'm doing now, what I've hit the ground running with last week. And you know what? Already seeing signs of getting better at stuff. Now, I will tell you, the problem with any business and any system and process is your calendar, right? I tell my coaching clients, let me see your calendar. I will tell you what your income is going to be, right? I can do that, but I couldn't do it for myself, right? I had to really step back and look at it. So this week I started a new system for my calendar. And guess what? I'm crushing it. I'm crushing my days. I'm crushing my work. It's just something simple that one of my guests a few weeks ago told me that he did. And I said, you know what? Worth a try. Working. So it's trial and error is what I'm telling you. Go ahead.
I will tell you this. First, trial and error is the way it goes. And I think we talked about this on your show the other day when we did this, but I'm going to bring this back up.
Okay.
One thing we've learned over the years is the try. Remember this? It was, try, fail, try, fail, try, fail. And it's crazy because people, as they watch that, they go, but you're going up every time you fail. And it's, yeah, that's exactly what it is that every single time you try something and you do fail, you will come out of it learning something, right? We either win or we learn. We never lose. So now you take away, what is that learning moment? You go and you try again. Well, by trying again, you're actually winning because you're finding another way to get better doing it. And over time, that trial and error is going to get you that place where you go, hey, I got this. Look, I've said it many times and I'll say it again that, the whole idea around time management and really working your schedule, it is the foundation of everybody's success. This is exactly what we need to be doing to be running our days. You can take anything that you want to do in life, but if you don't map it out and actually have a roadmap for how you're going to get there, it's like having an address and saying, okay, I've got this address. I'm going to punch it into, my maps, and the map is going to tell me go left, go right, go straight, go whatever. There it is. Take your goals, map it into your calendar, let your calendar be the roadmap. And when the calendar says, hey, you got to be here at this time, then you go be there at that time. Right. You do what you got to do. You do the best you can, and then you keep moving. Right. And again, this will go full circle right back to the habits of trigger, action, reward. Is by managing your calendar, trigger, what do I have to do today? Right? Taking action, actually doing it, and then rewarding yourself by recognizing that you did it, and then taking action for the next trigger. Well, now you're going to get your days done. You're going to win your day. Once you win your day, now you're going to get closer to winning your week, winning your month, winning your year. Next thing you know, you're getting to where you want to get to. The calendar is massive, Dave.
Yeah, the calendar is massive, and everything you're going to do. Like, you know what? I knew that I had to solve that issue, and you know what? I will still be tweaking it and changing it as it goes along. I made a mistake today. I wrote down too many things to do in my calendar. So that's something you got to be careful about because it will frustrate you. I want to go back to something I talk about all the time, and then I work on with my friends too. So I call it GCAP, right? So GCAP, goals, set goals, but understand that goals are hopes and dreams. That's all they are, right? It's what you want to do, right? Then there's commitment. Well, the results, so you can't measure goals, but you can measure commitments, and they're measured by their results. So I use this example all the time. Dave, you say, I want to make $150,000 in 2022, but it turns out you make 83. What was your commitment? $83,000 was your commitment, period, the end. So when you set your goals and you set your commitment, and you really got to have a strong, soulful commitment to it, you build your action steps. So I want to do, let's use 150 as a number. I want to do 150. You're going to reverse engineer that back to what you got to do on a daily basis. It's quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, right? Daily goals, daily commitments. So you set up all your action steps, the GCA action steps of how you're going to do it when you reverse engineer it. This is where most people stop. Okay, I got my goals. I'm going to commit to this stuff really, really great. And I got my action steps. I know what I've got to do. The P is where it comes in, where you do what you got to do. It's called performance. You do whatever you have to do, whatever it takes. And that's where the performance comes in. I don't care how you do it, why you do it, where you do it, but you better complete those action steps that you set up in your plan, because that is how you are going to achieve your commitments and make that 150. Now, if you look at your schedule, those action steps and the commitment need to be seen in your schedule, right? There's so many ways to do it. And I'm not going to come out here and say, I'm going to profess I'm not going to profess how I'm doing it now, because it's still a work in progress. But I will tell you one thing, in the next 4 weeks, I will be able to do that, because I will have perfected it. And it all comes back to changing habits the way you've done things before. And I believe we're talking to about 80 to 90% of the real estate agents out there. Okay. We've all got a problem with it, right? Look, here's the thing about coaching, and I'm sure you can agree with this. Most coaches out there are going to talk about how to get you leads, how to keep coaching them, building your coaching program and coaching so I can get you to build leads. You can tell people I got you leads, et cetera, et cetera. But they're not looking at your structure. Structure is the most important thing. And it starts the moment you wake up with mindset, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Mindset, health, which is exercise, your nutrition, et cetera. And that's one thing I'm improving on as well. And then when you do that, your mind is clear and ready to rock and roll. And once you build that mindset base and that footing and foundation in the beginning of your day, nothing can stop you the rest of the day.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I couldn't agree with you more. And this is where the daily challenge comes out to say to everybody, the first thing you're doing is picking up social media in the morning. You got to stop. If the last thing you're doing is looking at social media at night, you have to stop. This is about you getting you right. I'll tell you right now, straight up, and I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to put it out there to the whole world. And I want every single one of you to keep me accountable. I am going to lose another 10 to 15 pounds this year. Now, why do I say that? Because I failed miserably at that this past 365 days. I watched people around me get in better shape, and I asked myself, why did I not do that? Now, for me, I'll tell you, business-wise, we had a phenomenal year. Lots of amazingness, our family, everybody else. I mean, so many amazing things came out of 2021, outside of all the other craziness, right? But I will tell you, when it came to working on me physically, I did not do a good enough job. Mentally, I killed it. I just finished another book this morning. Okay. I'm getting through books like crazy. I crushed the goal that I had this year. I wanted to read 2 books a month. I have gone way past that. And that is the most powerful thing we can do, is to feed our brain. We are so focused on feeding our belly every single day. We don't feed our brain enough. But one thing I did a wicked job of feeding my brain this year. Mm-hmm. But I did not do a good enough job of making sure that physically I was where I needed to be. And so when we look at the importance of trying to get to that new place and trying to implement those new habits and trying to have that structure in our business for even more success, I couldn't agree more either, right? The fact that a lot of, whatever the messages are from any other coaches out there about getting leads, it's all important stuff. But I'll tell you that foundation that you just brought up, that those footings that we sit on, that right there is what people need to get in check. You can try to drive all the leads you want, put in all the marketing gimmicks you want. You can do all that stuff. And we all know how much I talk about building mind share, but if you don't get yourself right, if you don't have yourself in the optimum state where you are really working the brain, you are really working the physical, then the rest of it isn't going to be operating exactly where you need it to be. Period.
Right.
So I couldn't agree more, man. The foundation and the way you structure yourself, your business, yourself as a human being, as a person before business, that is the utmost important. You do that right, and it's amazing how things can change. All right. That's what we're with our clients on, right? Is the structure, is the goal setting, is the actions that you take on a daily basis. Again, you can hire all the different people you want to, but if you're not going to put in the work, put in the effort, and actually dedicate, none of it's coming to life anyways.
Right. And since we're in this time of year where people start talking about New Year's resolutions, think about what you didn't do last year and think about where you are today and where you want to be next year. So just remember this one little thing that I love saying. The pain of discipline is far less than the feeling of regret, because you will regret not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I don't care if you're doing 10 deals a year or 110 deals a year. It's all relative, right? I mean, one of the things that I do, and with my teams and my groups and with what I do in my coaching business is, you know what? You're doing 10 deals, you want to do 20, let's go. Okay? Because it's really David, it's really simple because it's mainly all at structure. It's mainly all at structure. Yeah, I'm doing this. They're juggling so much stuff. And one of the parts of the structure that they have to understand is they need to leverage themselves. They need to start firing themselves at the little things that somebody else should be doing. Oh, but I'm going to have to pay for that. That's right, you are. Think of the investment. See, here's the difference between, small-minded and large-minded. Or let's say lesser agents. What they're thinking about is what something's going to cost them. What the agents that are going to produce and really thrive and crush it, what they're thinking about is how much the investment is going to make them. Right? So think about it. I need to get a new CRM because my CRM sucks. Oh, wow, that's going to cost me $200 a month. Holy crap. That's the one mindset. The other mindset is, all right, $200 a month. It's going to allow me to do this, 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 and this. So I should be able to profit at least 400% off of that. And it's a silly example, but it's true blue, true to where it goes, right? And that's the thing.
Look, it's the same example of bringing on a coach. One of the things, and many people have heard me say this before, though, that this is not Amazon.
No.
You're not hiring us, and all of a sudden we're going to deliver you a package tomorrow, right? What you're doing now is you're making an investment into you and your business to take you to the next level. And that should have, resounding effects on what you do and how much you make for the rest of your career. As long as you put in the effort, as long as you take in what you learn and you apply it, you will get better.
And David, hiring a coach is not like cramming for an exam, where you cram for the exam, you puke out all the information you learned in that all-nighter you pulled to do the exam, and after the exam, you don't remember a damn thing. That's not what hiring a coach is about. Hiring a coach is actually learning and implementing and building momentum while working with that coach to build upon what you learned and how he coached you. Plain and simple.
Well said. So tell me this now. We're looking ahead. Okay.
Yep.
We've looked at the State of the Union, what's gone on in 2021, very briefly and in different ways, and really talked about growth. As we look ahead to 2022, what's trending? What are we going for? What are we where are we going? What are we watching out for? What are certain things that maybe you're talking to people about, or you're hearing through the grapevine of just where people's focuses are? What does that come down to for 2022?
It's going to go along and be completely and totally together with what I said earlier, where what worked 40 years ago is working now, but it's just backed up by technology. I mean, if you want to think about lead generation, I mean, there are always going to be different ones out there. There's always going to be different CRMs out there. There's going to be CRMs that, will comb your hair for you pretty soon. But, there's what you're looking at is relationships, really. I mean, if you're going to be better at relationships and be more relational than transactional, I've been saying that since I've been in the business, right? I don't think we're going to see any change in any of that. I don't think that there are technologies out there in the last 18 months. I'll never forget. I always asked, I had, right as the pandemic started, I had Tom Ferry as a guest on my broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF. And I asked Tom, I said, Tom, you're in the thick of everything. Tell me, what's the next disruptor? And he said, there is nothing out there. I see everything. There is nothing out there. Pandemic comes along. Okay, Zoom. I used Zoom for years before the pandemic. It turned out to be one of our major tools, right? And how we use it. StreamYard that we're on right now. It wasn't around 2 years ago, or might have been, but it was in its infant stage, right? There's another one called Be Live TV, which I didn't care for, but it was a good application. So there's other ones. I mean, there's the best one I can think of as an application that will help you in your business is HighNote. If anyone's heard of HighNote, built by Mark Choi, great program. And then, you know what? Just using whatever CRM works for you. And a lot of times, even today, people are using Excel spreadsheets and still index cards, believe it or not. So,
well,
hey, you know what?
You walked into it with video. Talk to me about that, because we've got, and I'll tell you from my side of things, we've been doing, I mean, you included, but we've been doing video for a long time.
Right.
And when the pandemic hit in 2020, video, obviously Zoom went from like here to like there. And yes, StreamYard came out and all these other things came out. And Microsoft finally got their stuff together with their things. And I mean, the landscape changed and evolved, but what it also was that there was a lot more people getting on video and needing to leverage video to communicate with other people, taking part in Zoom meetings that they weren't taking part in before, getting used to going to a virtual conference or a virtual office meeting and being like, oh my God, how do I turn on my camera? Oh my God, I didn't realize my camera was on. And we saw some crazy funny things happen, from people getting used to it. Now we look ahead and we say, well, we're now 2 years removed from this. It has been 2 full years, and we still have a massive populace of realtors that are not leveraging video. They're not getting on it. They're not using it to communicate. They're not using it to market. They're not using it to promote, to build mind share.
Right.
What's your thoughts on that? What's your message to everybody about that?
My message to everybody is to take everything that they know how to do and everything they're comfortable with and to use it to its fullest. When it comes to video, and David, as you said, I've been doing video for about 14 years. And that's a long time, probably when it started. And, it was people thought it was a joke when I did it back then. And now they stand up and say, oh, geez, I got to do video. I had a conversation a couple of days ago with someone that said, oh, yeah, this is the year of video. This is the year of video. How many years have we heard that in a row? But here's the thing. You have to be able to video is very, very important. You have to be able to communicate 3 ways still. Low tech, high tech, and no tech. You've got to be able to communicate those ways. And low tech can be email and it can be video as well. The thing about how you're doing it with high tech, we can call high tech the old ways, the new ways, and the virtual ways. Everything is going to include video, right? David, look at how your Instagram has evolved over 2021, right? If you look at my Instagram over the last 6 to 8 weeks, you'll see a huge change there. It's not that I'm using video. I'm using video differently, right? I'm using it in frames. I'm using different applications to set it up in, right? Now, obviously, you and I, if you said, Dave, if you said to me, I need you to do 2 videos on this tomorrow, 2 videos on that, and 2 videos on that tomorrow, and you got to have it done by tomorrow afternoon at 4, wouldn't faze me at all. I would get it done. 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. I did it yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. I not only did the videos, I uploaded them to the portal that my coach needed me to upload it to, right? I said, I'll have it to you by the end of the week. He says, I need it by the end of the day, Wednesday. He had it by the end of the day, Tuesday. 5 videos I had to do. Didn't faze me in the least. People say, well, Dave, you know how to do it. Yeah. One of the videos took me 25 takes. Because I'm not cutting stuff up. I'm getting it done 1, 2, 3. Here's the biggest thing about video. Just do one. Don't watch it, post it. Don't watch it, post it. Your non-video is better than your video is better than your competition's non-video. Right? What is video, Dave? It's reality TV. This thing that we're on right now, it's a TV station. Right? People are using this thing. They're using iPads, and I have 2 of them up in my studio, right? They're using that to communicate with, and their TVs. People are watching Hulu and Netflix on their iPads and on their phones. So video is something you're going to be able to do, but the way to build your business today through video is to do it as a follow-up, build relationships, right? So you call a FSBO. When you finish that call, hey, it's Dave. You just talked to me on the phone. Can't wait to see you tomorrow at our appointment that we agreed to. I'll see you tomorrow at 3:00. Looking forward to it. Now, of course, that's just quick off the top of my head, but what have you done differently there? If there's 3 people going to appointments for that listing, the other 2 people are the realtor or the real estate agent. When you walk up, they're not going to say, oh, that must be the real estate agent. They're going to say, oh, that's Dave, right? What you've done is you've given yourself a face and a name, because you got to see your name a couple times in that video, but it's less than a minute. It's 30 seconds. It's a thank you, right? And you not only did that, and here's the other thing that people can, one of these I said is, I'm not doing it to confirm the appointment. I say I will be there at 3. never confirm an appointment, right? You just do it that way. So that's how video should be used in its simplest forms. And there's so many other ways that we can use it. Video email, and that was a video text. So, I went round and around and tried to put a lot of things into that answer. I hope that answered the question for you.
No, it 100%, man. And I think the driving force behind that is just to encourage everybody to turn on your camera, get involved in the conversation. I mean, again, look, you ask me, and we look ahead to the new year. We don't know what is in store for us. We thought we were out of this thing in 2021. Right. Evidently, we were not. So where are we going in 2022? Are we going to continue to have more shutdowns, more isolation? I know up here north of the border, it's out of control. I mean, in so many ways of that word, it is out of control. And when we look at it and say, okay, well, am I going to be limited in being able to go see people? If I am, will this be a way to communicate? Am I going to be limited in the way I can promote a property? Well, if I am, then again, this lens is going to be a powerful way to communicate. I mean, yes, we've been touting, video. It's the year of video for a number of years now. That has not changed. You're absolutely right. It has not changed. Right. And I guess the driving message here is for everybody to really pay attention to that, right? Video is here to stay. Now, dovetail that into the world of social media, because video, again, is not isolated to social. Video, like you just said, Dave, you can email it, you can text it to people. We leverage it in different ways as a TV channel. But take that into the concept of social media for a minute, because everybody here is scrolling social media crazy. And so we see, and it's evident, and the proof is right there in front of your face as to how many people are starting to leverage video. But at the same time, too, social media platforms are doing it, tout the fact that you need to be leveraging video if you want to be seen. Now, on the whole thing of just social itself, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm sure many people, probably noticed, but we've been very quiet over these past sort of week and a half. We were very, very quiet on social media. And we did that very much on purpose. And it was an amazing, amazing, amazing moment to just relax, disconnect, not be worried. And you know what the crazy part is? For everybody who thinks like, oh my God, I'm going to miss something. Look at this. It's still here. You step right back into it and it's right there. So it doesn't matter if you step away for a little bit. But what's your thoughts? Is because a lot of people would say this to me over the year. It's a little bit negative. What do you think? Is social media, is it still a positive environment? Has it become negative? How do we control it so that it doesn't take over the mindset and we on the overall ultimately start in control of our day and what we achieve, and social media becoming just a byproduct of? So loaded little question there. The idea, would you say that it's become a negative space? Is it a positive place to be? What's your thoughts there?
I think except for probably March of 2020 to June of 2020, it's inherently a negative space. Because okay, let me take that back. I don't mean completely negative. I'm going to say fake. Okay. People say fake it until you make it. Well, they're faking it on social media. And this is what I mean. But I actually call it from time to time fake book, right? Instead of Facebook. It was real book for that time frame I talked about, because there was so much sincerity going on and people worried, and people got really soulful and really were good. We're seeing the same stuff. It's like Christmas. It's gotten too commercial. People say that about Christmas, right? But here's what you can do. You can yourself control what you do, what you say, how you say it. It does not give you, because you can do it anonymously, it does not mean you can curse somebody out. It does not mean you can say negative things. I mean, you're going to do it. You're free to do it. I mean, we were on a broadcast. I was on a broadcast last week, and I see the comments come through, as you can, David. And someone typed in total horseshit, right? And I said, and the mistake I made was I deleted it. I should have brought it on and discussed it, because people, I would have asked why. Why is what we're talking about total horseshit? Maybe that wouldn't have been a great thing to do, but still, you get these negative comments because people can be anonymous. Hey guys, don't be anonymous. Stand up for what you're doing, do your job, and don't let it be negative. You don't have to let it be negative. You can limit your time on it. Look, no one gets up on Saturday morning and says, let me go to Facebook to find a house. You have to be there to tell stories. You have to be there to be reality TV, as I said a minute ago. And not be negative about stuff. Okay, is it all, cotton candy and ice cream? No, it's not. But you know what? What you choose to do, what you choose to post, and how you choose to do your business, please make sure you're doing it in a professional manner and don't say anything but the truth. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there really trying hard that aren't doing a really great job, but they're not the problem, So for me, Dave, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of people out there that are doing different things through other applications such as TikTok. Reels are another thing. I know you use both of those. I'm not there yet. And it's funny, I've been on Facebook since the beginning, just about, and Instagram I'm getting much better at. But it's like, you know what? Understand what you're here for. If you're here to help people get a house, get that American dream, that's what you go for. And remember, anything you do there that's negative, the potential home buyer or seller is going to find it and not use you.
That is a very great point.
One.
That I would say that's right there. That is huge because you're absolutely right. If you have done something negative, it will be found on social media. Never discount that. And this goes right down to the comments that you're sharing with other people, comments you're making about other people. So you got to be really, really paying attention to that stuff. Perception's reality, I guess, right? So talk to me about this then, because
sure.
Talk to me about adaptability. Because I know that for you've mentioned this is one of the most important traits we can have is adaptability.
Right.
Tell me more about that.
For me, over the past 6 weeks, I've had to adapt to a completely different mindset as to what I'm doing. Actually going into production, buyers and sellers, and sales and marketing. I mean, what's the two most important things you can do in your real estate business? It's sales and marketing. It's as plain as day, right? And if you're doing it right, you have to be able to adapt to today's way of thinking. Like, let's face it. I mean, most people buying houses, they don't have any patience. Maybe years ago, that might be a difference from 40 years ago, but still, my first sale ever I didn't get was someone I must have showed 25 houses to I believe in 1978, had an appointment for the perfect house. I thought. They called me up the night before. Sorry, Dave, we found it for sale by owner. We're buying that one. So that same stuff happened, 45 years ago. Same thing. Mm-hmm. But, you have to understand that you have to be able to show your story and do whatever you got to do. That's the right thing to do. That's all.
I like that. So, as we close this one out, right. And we look at, talk about a bunch of stuff here. We've talked about, mindsets. We've talked about scheduling, the importance of scheduling. We've talked about planning. We did a little bit of a look back to, is it more difficult now with the rates being so low, but with everything outside, what's been happening. And I love your message to it. It just really doesn't matter. If this is what you do, then you need to be prepared for it. And you need to go out there and you need to put in the effort to get the results that you're looking for. And then, looking ahead as well at, the video and the social media and some of those different things. And maybe the fact that there aren't these big technology trending, disruptors coming in 2022. More so, this is going to be all about how we as individuals really operate, what we do, what we bring to the table in terms of our own personal efforts to get us to, well, let's say this point next year, but that growth that we're all looking for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So nice little way to. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that the only disruptor is in you. You're the disruptor. People can say that brokerage models are changing, and they are, and we all know that. We don't have to go into that, but brokerage models have changed. That's the only disruptor, as I see it over the last year, and will be over the next few. Will the brokerage model be the disruptor in and of itself? And I think it will be.
I think that there's definitely something to be looking at there. I think the technology itself and the fact that we are so connected across different channels and across different medias, it certainly lends the ability for people to work at a distance. I think that I think the be all and end all and the cherry on top of that is to say that real estate has always been and will always be a people business. Yep. This is about building trust with other people. When you build that trust, you get those listings. When you get those listings, you have a better chance at winning the game.
100%.
Dave, tell me this.
Yes, sir.
How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
Did I achieve what I set out to do in the beginning of the day? And like I said earlier, my schedule today, I wrote too much stuff down. I look at my schedule now. I look at my day now. Okay, what has to get done? And honestly, every day I put something down now that's personal. Sometimes you get so wound up in what you're doing and you forget to, tell somebody you love them or whatever it is. But my day, I write down, something about my daughters every day. Do I always get to it? No, but I'm one way or the other connecting with them. They're grown now, so they're not little kids. So everybody knows that, right? They're in their 31 and 29, so they're a little bit bigger than most. But it doesn't matter. They're still my kids, right? So, but a successful day it's a feeling. It's not something that it's something you accomplished and you did everything you wanted to do, and you walk away from that desk or that podium or that computer and say, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was fun. For me, it's not always fun, but when it is, man, I mean, yesterday was one of those days, man, it just was. And Monday was too. And I like where it's going. And everybody, just a way to look at your business and to look at your life. You know what? Some of us have issues, some of us don't, but we've all got problems to deal with. Just take them in perspective and move forward and do the best that you can with what you've got. That's a successful day.
I love that. And I would say, I think we all have issues. Everybody's got something they're battling. Everybody's got something they want to improve on. But give me some last words or tips as we move out and close out, this another crazy year. Give some last words, some last tips here that we could share with everybody to help them get out there. Of course, build some mind share and really prepare themselves to have an amazing, amazing year for 2022.
End your day with 4 major questions. Okay. End your day with what worked today? What's working? Second question, what's not working? Third question, what am I doing? And last but not least, what should I be doing? If you take those 4 questions to analyze your day, and this is basically these are the 4 basic questions I'm asking my coaching clients on a regular basis, right? This is how the session starts for the most part. If you do that, go forward. Or you can do this. Did I do what I said I was going to do today? Did I fulfill my commitments? If not, what got in my way? You're doing the same thing. What got in my way? And tomorrow, if for all intents and purposes, could I have completed my commitments? And last but not least, what am I going to do tomorrow differently to make me able to fulfill my commitments? There's a couple of different ways to look at it: commitments or what's working. It's the same thing.
Awesome, man. Great words there. Great words. And hoping everybody will take a lot of what you shared today and really let it sink in. I think that there was some good stuff shared, some good fundamentals shared, some good things for everybody to think about. I think that we've been able to help everybody really leave off this year and move into a new year on another level. So I want to thank you sincerely, Dave, as always, for joining me on the Mindshare podcast. I think this is visit number 2, probably 3 for you, I believe. I'm grateful for you, brother. I really am. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate the collabs at all times and keeping the lines open together. And I love learning from you. So I thank you once again for joining me. And hey, where can people find you?
You can reach me at davefanale.com, or you can hit me up on Instagram at Dave Fanale, and on Facebook, Dave Fanale, David Fanale. I'm all over the place, not hard to find. If you find another David Fanale, that is my nephew in Massachusetts, who happens to be an attorney. But you know what? reach out. Be glad to have a conversation with you. 20-minute chat. That's all you got to do. DaveFanale.com. The link will be in that.
Love it, man. Love it, buddy. Thank you. Once again, I really, really appreciate you taking the time today.
And David, thank you so much for having me on. It is truly an honor and a pleasure. And I respect you. And you know what, man? You are, as I said in the beginning, a mentor and a coach to me as well. Thanks a lot.
Feelings are mutual, man. Thank you. You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mind share so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our push to 100 is on. And all you have to do, this is super easy, is go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, it is www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to once again thank Jason Frazier and the entire Equity Prime Mortgage crew for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you connect with them on Instagram at EPM Plus and keep an eye out for MindShareX because we've created a powerful partnership to help everyone build a whole ton of mindshare. I, of course, also want to thank Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Quick note, as I mentioned off the top today, due to provincial regulations, the Buzz has had to reschedule our live in-person Recharge 2022 event, which was set to take place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center to March 31st, 2022. More details to come. There will still be a January 13th event, but it is going to be virtual, so be sure to visit their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and follow them on Instagram at thebuzzconference to keep tabs on all the awesome events they are always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz digital magazine. And of course, I want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my site, mindshare101.com, and click on Marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.